Hello and namaste to all of you. This is Javin Shalu Singh from Department of Physiotherapy and Diagnosis from Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. Today I will be talking with you all about proteinuria. So what is proteinuria basically? Proteinuria is a common finding in adults with primary care practice, and an algorithm approach can be used to differentiate benign causes of proteinuria from rarer or more serious disorders. So, benign causes include fever, intense activity of exercise, dehydration, emotional stress, and acute illness. And most serious causes include glomerulonephritis and multiple myeloma. So, alkaline, dilute, or concentrated urine, gross hematuria, and presence of mucus, semen, or white blood cells can cause a dipstick urinalysis to be falsely positive of protein. And of the three pathophysiological mechanisms, glomerular, tubular, and overflow, that produce proteinuria and glomerular malfunctions, in most common and usually corresponds to a urinary protein excretion of more than 2 grams per 24 hour. When a quantitative measurement of urinary protein is needed, most physicians they prefer 24-hour urine specimen. And however, the urine protein to creatinine ratio is performed on a random specimen has many advantages over the 24-hour collection and primary convenience and possibly accuracy. So most patients evaluated for proteinuria have a benign cause, and patients with proteinuria greater than 2 grams per day or in whom the underlying etiology remains unclear after the thorough medical evaluation should be referred to as to a nephrologist. So proteinuria can be defined as 2400 year 2400 years ago. So Hippocrates noted so the association between the bubbles on the surface of urine and the kidney disease. So today proteinuria is defined as urinary protein excretion of greater than 150 mg per day, and urinary protein excretion in healthy person varies considerably and may reach proteinuric levels under several circumstances. So most dipsticks tests such as albastin, multisticks that are positive for protein are a result of benign proteinuria, which has no associated morbidity or mortality. Now, there are various causes for benign proteinuria, so which can be dehydration, emotional stress, fever, heat injury, inflammatory process, intense activity, and most acute illness, orthostatic postural disorder. So these about 20% of normally excreted protein in a low molecular weight type, such as immunoglobulins, so a molecular weight of about 20,000 Dalton, and 40% in high molecular weight albumin, where the molecular weight is about 65,000 Daltons. So, and 40% is made up of TAM horsefall mucoproteins, is secreted by the distal tubule. So the various mechanisms behind proteinuria can be so the normal barriers of protein filtration begin in glomerulus, which consists of unique capillaries that are permeable to fluid and small solutes, but effective barriers to plasma proteins. So the adjacent basement membrane and visceral epithelial cells are covered with negatively charged heparin sulfate proteoglycans, and proteins cross to the tubular fluid in ways of proportion to their size and negative charge. So proteins with a molecular weight of less than 20,000 pass easily across the glomerular capillary wall, and conversely, albumin with a molecular weight of 65,000 Dalton and a negative charge is restricted under normal conditions, and the smaller proteins are largely reabsorbed at proximal tubule, and one small amount are excreted. So, the pathophysiological mechanisms of proteinuria can be classified as glomerular tubular or overflow, And glomerular disease is most common cause of pathologic proteinuria, and several glomerular abnormalities alter the permeability of glomerular basement membrane, resulting in urinary loss of albumin and immunoglobulins. Glomerular malfunctions can cause large protein losses. Urinary excretion of more than 2 grams per 24 hours is usually a result of glomerular disease. So, proteinuria, as I said, that it can be classified in your 3 classes. Glomerular, which shows increased glomerular capillary permeability to protein and can be caused due to primary and secondary glomerulopathy. Secondly, there can be a tubular proteinuria, which can be caused due to show features like decreased tubular reabsorption of protein and glomerular filtrate, and can be caused due to tubular or intestinal disease. Thirdly, there can be overflow proteinuria, which show increased production of low molecular weight proteins and can be caused due to monoclonal gammopathy, leukemia. So, uh, causes of proteinuria, they can also be related to quantity. So 0.5 to 2.0 gram shows mild glomerulopathies. Tubular proteinuria and overflow proteinuria ranges from 2.0 to 4.0 grams show usually glomerular, and more than 4.0 is always glomerular. So tubular proteinuria occurs with tubulointerstitial disease and prevents the proximal tubule from reabsorbing low molecular weight protein, parts of normal glomerular ultrafiltrate. When a patient has tubular disease, and usually less than 2 grams of proteins is excreted in 24 hours, and tubular disease include hypertensive nephrosclerosis and tubulointestinal nephropathy caused by non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. And in overflow proteinuria, low molecular weight proteins overwhelm the ability of proximal tubules to reabsorb and filtered proteins. So most often, this is a result of immunoglobulin overproduction that occurs in multiple myeloma, and the resultant light chain immunoglobulin fragments, such as Bence-Jones proteins, produce a monoclonal spike in urine electrophoretic patterns. So, the several selected causes of proteinuria, depending on the type, can be glomerular. Your primary, if among glomerular, primary glomerulonephropathy can be caused due to minimal change in disease, idiopathic membranous glomerulonephritis, focal segmental glomerulonephritis, membranoproliferative glomerulonephritis, and IgA nephropathy. Nextly, secondary glomerulonephropathy can have causes such as diabetes mellitus, collagen vascular disorder such as lupus nephritis, amyloidosis, and preeclampsia. So, causes for glomerular associated with drugs can be glomerular nephropathy associated can be with following drugs such as heroin, NSAIDs, and gold components, penicillamine, lithium, and heavy metals. And tubular can have causes such as hypertensive nephrosclerosis, tubulointestinal diseases due to uric acid nephropathy, acute hypersensitivity, interstitial nephritis, Fanconi syndrome, heavy metals, sickle cell disease, NSAIDs, and antibiotics. Overflow can be due to hemoglobinuria, myoglobinuria, multiple myeloma, and amyloidosis. And detection and quantifying proteinuria. Uh, so the various tests which are related to the detection of proteinuria can be dipstick analysis, which is most commonly used in most outpatient setting to a semi-quantitative measurement of urine protein concentration. And in absence of protein, the dipstick panel is yellow. So protein in solutions interfere with dye buffer combination, causing the panel to turn green, and false positive results occur with alkaline urine, so pH more than 7.5, and when the dipstick is immersed too long with highly concentrated urine with gross hematuria and in presence of penicillin, sulfonamides, or tolutamide, and with pus, semen, or vaginal secretions. False negative occurs with dilute urine having specific gravity more than 1.015 and with urinary proteins are non-albumin or low molecular weight. So the results are graded as negative, that is less than 10 mg per day, and trace 10 to 20 mg per day, and 1 plus for 30 mg per day, and 2 plus for 100 mg per day, and 3 plus for 300 mg per day, and same 4 plus for 1000 mg per day. So this method preferentially detects albumin and is less sensitive to globulin or parts of globulin, a heavy or light chain of Bence-Jones proteins. So sulfosalicylic acid turbidity test qualitatively screens for proteinuria, and the advantages of this easily performed test is greater sensitivity for proteins such as Bence-Jones, and the SSA method requires a few milliliters of freshly voided and centrifuged urine. So an equal amount of 3% SSA is added to that specimen, and turbidity will result from protein concentrations as low as 4 mg per day. So false positive results can occur when a patient is taking penicillin or sulfonamides and within 3 days after administration of radiographic dyes. So a false negative result occurs with highly buffered alkaline urine or a dilute specimen, and because the result of urine dipstick and SSA tests are crude estimates of urine protein concentration, and it depends on the amount of urine produced. So they correlate poorly with quantitative urine protein determinations, and most patients with persistent proteinuria should undergo a quantitative measurement of protein excretion, which can be done with a 24-hour urine specimen, and the patient should be instructed to discard the first morning void, and a specimen of all subsequent voiding should be collected, including the first morning void on the second day. So the urinary creatinine concentration should be included in 24-hour measurement to determine the adequacy of specimen, and creatinine is excreted in proportion to muscle mass, and its concentration remains relatively constant on a daily basis, and young middle-aged men excrete 16 to 26 mg per kg per day, and women excrete 12 to 24 mg per kg per day. So in malnutrition and elderly persons, creatinine excretion may be less. So an alternative to the 24-hour urine specimen in urine proteins to creatinine ratio determined in a random urine specimen while person carries on normal activity. So the correlation between urine protein to creatinine ratio and 24-hour protein excretion has been demonstrated in several diseases, including diabetes mellitus, preeclampsia, rheumatic disease, and recent evidences indicate that urine protein and creatinine ratio is more accurate than 24-hour urine protein measurement. So fortunately, the ratio is about same numerically, and as the number of grams of protein excreted in urine per day. So thus a ratio of less than zero point 0.2 is equivalent to 0.2 grams of protein per day and is considered normal. And a ratio of 3.5 is equivalent to 3.5 grams of protein per day and is considered nephrotic range or heavy proteinuria. So this was all about the proteinuria and its detection and its quantification. So in next section, I'll further tell you about proteinuria. Until then, Take care and goodbye.